Part 1. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white-bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan and Hai. Chapter 1. Chapter 1. The bone dragon pond, where the real dragon is buried. The sky is high, the clouds are clear, and the sky is blue. The trees are lush and green, the birds in the mountains are singing quietly, and it's a mountain scenery, but there is a clear human voice outside the painting. In ancient rumors, there is a real dragon in the white-bone dragon pond. It occasionally flies in the air and is seen by others, so this incident is recorded. In local chronicles, such records appear 5 times in 1,000 years. Although they are different local chronicles, they all revolve around this scope. Yeshi raised his hand and drew a circle, and the camera was focused on him. So, we are here today to look for the rumored true dragon. It was a warm and sunny day, and at this time, he was walking alone among the mountains in the wild. Yeshi was carrying a backpack for outdoor adventure, and it had already taken him half a day to walk from where he started walking to this deep mountain and old forest, which was like no man's land. And his live broadcast room has a very gimmicky name, deciphering the ancient mythology of the bone dragon pond, leading you to find the real dragon of the Dragon Kingdom. As a result, the number of people in the live broadcast room gradually increased from a few sparse, but there were only 100 people, which was incomparable to those big live broadcast rooms. Most of them were attracted by the name of his live broadcast room. The drone live broadcast footage in the distance is still faithfully broadcasting the regional landforms. Judging from the place where I last supplied supplies, there should be no one around 2,000 miles away. But don't worry, I was fully prepared before coming here. Before coming here, I had searched a lot of information in various libraries and on the internet, and asked many local people. Combined with the map, I determined that it was within this general range. Yeshi only had one meal. The barrage in the live broadcast room is full of them. There are no dragons in this world is the anchor obsessed with fantasy novels. I was attracted by the name of the live broadcast room when I came alone to a place like this. I always felt that the anchor was committing suicide. Identification completed. It's a newbie trying to catch the dragon's popularity. I've reported it, thank you. But the host's physical strength is really good. He only broke out a little sweat after walking for so long. Could it be the background picture? What kind of dragons are there in this kind of place? I have been to similar places with not 100,000 but 8,000. There is nothing interesting to see. Everyone can leave. Yeshi felt helpless when he saw these barrages. It had been 2 months since he traveled to this world. The first time he woke up from traveling, an inexplicable voice sounded in his mind. Ding! Exploring the global world live broadcast system is being bound. The system has been bound successfully. Ding! Congratulations to the host for awakening. Big gift package for newbies, Solar Smart Drone, the joy of live streaming. Elementary Energy Bottle X3, anytime, anywhere, to help you regain your prime. The Quest live broadcast room is opened, and the Yindo app is opened simultaneously. Special Nutrient Solution X1, enhances the upper limit of physical fitness. The global secret map is lighting up. Ding, the first level map White-Bone Dragon Pond is lit up. Host, please go explore it as soon as possible. As soon as Yeshi woke up, he heard the constant ding 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 sound, and then he realized that he was bound to the system. However, the White-Bone Dragon Pond in the illustrated book only had a thumbnail and a name. Yeshi could only look for information within this period of time. Under the live broadcast lens, there was a long and narrow crack. The wind was blowing up with strong water vapor. Yeshi climbed up. After watching this scene, his expression was shocked. Look, everyone, you can go to the White-Bone Dragon Pond from the place in front of you. However, I checked a lot of information, but nothing was clear, so I decided to come and see it myself. After arranging his equipment, Yeshi was ready to go down from the crack. As more and more barrages were added, Yeshi just glanced at him and didn't care. He climbed down the hillside. But at this time, the wind in the crack suddenly became strong, and the grass blades on the ground were blown up. The leaves rustled. Fortunately he had been fully prepared before. Why is the wind so strong suddenly? Host, please be careful. Anchor, please turn off your fan quickly. Waiting and watching. This show is really amazing. Although the wind was strong before, it was only about level 3. Now the wind is probably level 6 or 7. Despite the noise of the barrage, Yeshi's expression remained unchanged. Thanks to the special nutrient solution given to him by the system, he had already drank 3 bottles. His current physique was not the best in the world, but it was comparable to those of professional special forces. Don't worry, everyone. I feel that the wind speed is just level 7. You can see that all the trees blown by the wind are shaking. The overall wind speed is relatively high. But on land, especially in this kind of mountain forest, there is basically no strong wind, and I saw the weather forecast before coming here. The anchor said seriously that he had seen the weather forecast. Why was it so funny? Hey, you are here to see the dragon, did you know, that's a dragon. I originally thought this was a fantasy live broadcast room, but now it suddenly talks about a bit of science. Gautu. Anchor, please stop being poor. Why do I feel that the wind is getting stronger and stronger? Should I call the police and contact the search and rescue team now? The number of barrages increased at a very fast speed, covering everything. When Yeshi saw the search and rescue team, he said no, and then walked down the stone slope and rope. The wind roared and gravel fell from the hillside, scaring everyone watching the live broadcast. What kind of special effects blockbuster is this? Asked a person who entered the live broadcast room later. What special effects? This is true. The anchor ran alone into the deep mountains and forests to find some kind of dragon pond. As soon as he entered the crack that is said to lead to the dragon pond, there was a strong wind, which was scary to death. I really started to doubt that there was a dragon. Bah, have you people received 9 years of compulsory education? Dragon, 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 you don't know anything. Do you still think there is something that scientists say doesn't exist? You're stupid. You're just as stupid as the anchor. There was no ID displayed on the barrage, and as expected, there was a quarrel. Yeshi pulled the extremely strong and flexible rope that had been industrially poured all the way down. The gravel under his feet clicked, and the place where he originally stepped suddenly broke into pieces. He leaned back. If he hadn't still had the rope in his hand, I'm afraid it will fall directly. I'm going. It's too scary. Host, are you still alive? What's going on? Why did you suddenly miss the mark? Just like the anchor, people like you who obviously have no professional training should not think about those fake and empty things every day. Look for dragons. Look for dragons. What kind of dragons are you looking for? I think it is just seek death. What kind of sarcastic remarks did you make? Family members, I have called the police. What should I tell the police now? Just when Yeshi turned around and was about to fall, his waist and abdomen moved and he stepped on the air. Then he flipped in the air and stepped directly on a piece of bluestone a few meters away. I'm going with the skills of the anchor. He is not a martial arts master. The core strength of this waist and abdomen is so strong, it's scary. As expected, everyone in the Dragon Kingdom knows martial arts. I want to go to the Dragon Kingdom to learn martial arts. What a big brother, how did he do it? Wait, can this be played back? It's exposed from the beginning. I thought this guy was trying to impress people who does outdoor live broadcasting. Look so handsome. It seems that this is a script. It must have been Diawe just now, and the wind now may also be a later special effect. Go away, if you can't do it yourself. Just talk about special effects. You can see it clearly on the anchor's body, and look at this place. Where did the Wea hang you up from? Don't believe it, hee. This must be planned by a team, just to create stars, and there are dragons. It's just nonsense. Family members, The police asked me what the matter was. I said that an anchor was looking for a dragon. He scolded me. Then I saw that the anchor was fine and said he would not call the police. He said that I made a false alarm. What should I do now? Yashi ignored the barrage. He stepped lightly on the bluestone and felt the wind getting stronger and stronger. He knew that this was not going to work and could not continue. He simply did not stop and broke through the mountain wind directly, all the way down. Click 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 click. The stones kept falling to the ground, and Yeshi's body jumped down like an ape, holding the safety rope tightly in his hand. With a thud, he finally landed, but a line of cold sweat broke out on his head. The strong wind consumed too much physical strength. There really isn't a dragon. Yeshi murmured twice in his heart, then took out an energy bottle from his pocket and drank it. In an instant, he felt that his physical strength and energy had recovered in all aspects. In order to explore the secrets of the Bone Dragon Pond, he had done many preliminary tasks and obtained many energy bottles. Has the anchor ever studied martial arts? Is he the heir of a martial arts family? The series of moves just now were so cool. What did the anchor drink? It looks delicious. If you want, follow the anchor's route now. Yeshi glanced at the dark hole in front of him and said, "Look behind you now. You can see that we didn't see any fog when we came down from above. But now, looking back, we find that the white fog has completely obscured this place. Remember what I said, we came here to find the Bone Dragon Pond. Maybe there is really what we are looking for here. Because this is the place I selected based on all the legends and information, and after asking many local people. In addition to this place, there are 2 other places. I originally thought that I would visit all 3 places once, but now look, we are very lucky. This should be the location of the White Bone Dragon Pond. Come on, let's keep going." More and more people are entering the live broadcast room. Now I will let the drone zoom in on the picture in front of me. As you can see, everything here is very broken. There is almost no complete stone, and there are no weeds. Yeshi adjusted the camera, zoomed in, and pointed it downwards. He walked forward and said as he walked, "I heard the sound of water, not far away. The air here is very humid. There should be an underground river." We continue to move forward now, and it is getting darker and darker. "Be careful, anchor. Now I'm eating while watching your live broadcast, and my meal is no longer delicious." As Yeshi spoke, he suddenly stopped at a place. He asked the drone to zoom in on the camera. At first I thought the underground river was deep, but now I see that it may be entering from here. You can take a look at the water. A gap suddenly opened in the mountain wall, and cold water flowed quietly in it. The gap was very narrow, but not high, and Yeshi could step in with a long stride. Yeshi stretched out his hand to stir the water. Strange, this water is very cold. Except for the water formed from the snow under the snow-capped mountains, ordinary underground rivers and mountain water are not so cold. I'm going forward now to see what's in front of me. Look, here is actually an altar. Yeshi looked at the scene in front of him and was a little distracted for a moment, because the altar was made of pure stone, but the stone actually had 5 colors. Ding, found the 5-color altar, and will be rewarded with the explanation of the 5-color altar, and the White Bone Dragon Pond information fragment X2. The 5-color altar, a special magic circle that can cross the starry sky. Its true origin cannot be traced. The simple altar here has lost its divine power. Only a place in the northwest corner still retains spirituality. If the altar is opened, it can be teleported to another planet. White Bone Dragon Pond, it is said that a real dragon is buried here, but legends are just legends after all. No one knows the truth except those who saw it with their own eyes. Yeshi's pupils trembled as he looked at the words flowing rapidly in front of his eyes. He really didn't expect that this altar was related to the starry sky. Ding, side mission, explain the 5-color altar and the Bone Dragon Pool in the live broadcast. This is a chain mission, and the reward is temporarily unknown. He zoomed in on the camera, squatted down, and touched the altar. Everyone, look, this altar is called the five-color altar. Although it looks rough in appearance, when you touch it, it is unexpectedly smooth and round, which is beyond my expectation. Yashi's expression was really surprised, and it was as smooth as delicate jade. Just blow it, such a rough stone has the nerve to say it is smooth. The anchor is really talking nonsense. I thought this live broadcast was different from others before. I didn't expect that. Now I am planning to bring goods to this five-color altar. It is exactly the same as other live broadcast rooms on Yindu. Before Yashi saw the barrage, he stretched out his hand and broke it hard, and found that even with his strength, he could not shake the stone. It was obviously very rough, and another stone could be inserted into the gap between the stones, but every stone the stone just wouldn't move. Hey, this stone is not only smooth to the touch, but also very strong. I originally wanted to take out a piece and study it, but I found that there was no way. After saying this, Yesai stood up and saw the ridicule on the barrage. He didn't care and just continued to explain. These five-color altars are recorded in ancient historical legends. According to historical records, most altars are used for sacrifices. Some are used to worship sages and some to worship gods. Different altars have different functions. The five-color altar in front of us is not used to worship sages or gods, but to worship heaven and earth. 5 months ago, Tiangong number 12 was successfully launched, and according to ancient records, this five-color altar carries the same function as the heavenly palace, that is to say, it is actually a space station. As soon as Yeshi's words came out, the noisy barrage suddenly cleared up. A second later, countless barrages suddenly appeared crazily. What is the anchor talking about? Did I hear it correctly? The five-color altar is a space station. I feel numb. Did I have something wrong with my ears just now? Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white-bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 2. Finally, the true face is exposed. This little anchor who is trying to attract attention can say such things. Just say that you have seen a space station, and you dare to say that this is a space station. Before, he talked about science, but now he is talking nonsense. What is going on? When did the anchor talk about science? Look up at the title of the live broadcast room, Deciphering the Ancient History of the White-Bone Dragon Pond, taking you to find the real dragon of the Dragon Kingdom. Yashi looked at the questioning comments, but did not take it seriously, because if he heard others say this, he would definitely think it was crazy. This anchor's serious look is so funny. I didn't say anything when he talked about dragons before, but now he is pointing at stones and talking about space stations. It's really funny. I accidentally clicked into the live broadcast room because the title was so attractive. After hearing your discussion, I want to say, host, I have participated in the Tiangong project. Although it was only a small part, I also have a deep sense of pride. You compare these piled stones to the Tiangong, which is a great humiliation to scientific researchers. I am a doctoral graduate from Udaoka. I am familiar with various ancient books and have never seen such records in ancient books. Didn't the host say that these stones are space stations? Let's fly one and see. Seeing these comments, Yeshi didn't care much, because after the system gave the popular science, he was stunned for 3 times. He really didn't expect that such an ordinary altar could be transmitted to another planet. Let alone others. He thought this was outrageous, but he still explained, this five-color altar is indeed something similar to the heavenly palace. There should also be something like a spaceship on it, and then you can take this spaceship to cross the star field and go to another planet. I understand, the anchor is writing a novel for us. This is really good, it is combined with reality. Upstairs, I have seen more than a dozen anchors like this today. This is the 16th. I said that some TV broadcasting company is hyping it up here. You didn't believe it before, but now you believe it. This anchor is a clown who is sensationalizing everyone, Stop watching, and leave. Yeshi's voice was indifferent. This 5-color altar can serve as a space station in ancient times, but it is no longer able to do so now. However, I just took a look. Although most of the 5-color stones have lost their spirituality, or have no energy, there is still a small part that can be activated. I will show you how to do it now. Come on, the drone zooms in. As soon as Yeshi finished speaking, the camera zoomed in very close. He seemed to press something, and then a small piece of 5-color stone suddenly lit up. It lit up, lit up, lit up. Is what the host said true? Bullshit. I now suspect that even the scene is not natural but artificially built. No wonder the wind was so strong before. It must be to create momentum. Wow, such a beautiful and soft light. The host contacted me. I want to buy it. Yeshi did not answer the question on the barrage, but just looked at the altar. The altar was not big, and could accommodate about 2 adults. At this time, a corner of the altar was emitting dazzling brilliance, and the colorful glow was lingering. The 5-colored stones in that corner gradually became crystal clear, like top gray jade, and everything was faithfully broadcast live by the drone. In addition to the altar, there were some scattered sacrificial utensils. The colorful glow gradually faded. Yeshi picked up one at random. The color on the bottle had almost faded, and then threw it to the lit corner of the altar. Only a click was heard. A bottle that was originally in the air suddenly disappeared. What's going on? The anchor can also perform magic. Where is the ancient bottle with peeling paint? I was distracted. Why did the bottle disappear? I remember that this live broadcast can be replayed quick. Is there anyone who can see what happened just now? Oh my god, it's so magical. I played it back and slowed it down many times. The live broadcast quality is so clear that it can be considered lossless. I watched it frame by frame, and the bottle disappeared in one of the frames. No matter how I slowed it down, it just disappeared suddenly. Is this a post-production special effect technology? We are so far away, we can't see anything anyway. The comments were different, but Yeshi clapped his hands and walked back to the crack where the river was flowing. Okay, after seeing the 5-color altar, we have to continue looking for the dragon pond. The bottle has been teleported out, but because there is no spaceship to protect it, I don't know if the bottle is still alive and where it has been teleported to. He suddenly smiled. The effect of this 5-color altar has been greatly reduced. Just now, only a corner was lit up. The bottle must not be teleported to the place you want to teleport. Maybe it will be teleported to space and be regarded as cosmic garbage. Hearing this, the originally quiet comments suddenly became lively. Tisk, the host is fooling around. Haha, the above is right. I also saw a man exploring his own cellar, and his mother called him to eat in the end. If he is really found in the universe, I will live broadcast eating the table. I came here to see the host's skills. That part went viral on TikTok. So handsome. Does the host still accept disciples? Yes, she didn't know that his video had been edited and posted online, and it had caused quite a stir. He took another look at the number of people watching the live broadcast and found that it was about to break through 100,000. I said, no wonder the number of people has increased so fast. It turns out that someone is diverting traffic. However, globally, this data is still too low. Yeshi said this in his heart, then adjusted his clothes and pointed the camera at the dark and gentle underground river channel. Look, everyone, I am going to go along here to see if there is a white bone dragon pond inside. Everyone, look at the outside. The stone walls in this area are obviously much newer than the others, so there should be a big one here. There is space for people to pass through, but it is blocked now. The camera followed Yeshi's gestures and took several close-ups. I thought about it and decided to just smash open the repaired area here. I saw that the river is not very fast, and if it is blocked, it won't reach my thigh. If I don't knock it out, it will be difficult to come back later. After Yeshi AI finished speaking, he hit the new stone wall with a cold hammer. The anchor is so fierce, he does whatever he says. I just took a look at the screenshot and found that what the anchor said is indeed correct. There are obvious traces of later construction in one area, but the anchor still needs to be careful. Am I the only one still thinking about the 5-color altar? It's over. I was fooled by the anchor. I studied for a long time and really didn't find out how the bottle disappeared. It's not magic, and there's no place to hide it, let alone the live broadcast cannot be trimmed later. I am also wondering why I need to bring a hammer. When knocking on it again, this piece of stone wall was broken into pieces at once. After discovering that the stone here was very broken, Yeshi was even more sure that his idea was correct. This kind of stone was too easy to break, even without him. Any action you take will soon be washed away by the current. It's broken, why did it break after only 3 blows? You should be more realistic in your acting. I'm speechless. Brother above, everyone pays attention to flawless acting. The more it is like this, the more true it is. Do you understand? Nonsense, haven't you seen how thin the stone wall is when the drone is in close-up? Not to mention that the anchor's power is not ordinary at first glance. This is normal. The water flowed down loudly. Yeshi stood aside and slowly watched it turn from the level of the calf to the level of a stream. Finally, even the shoes could not be submerged and he could wade through it directly. The wind was blowing and there was the sound of water rushing. It was so quiet here that everyone watching the live broadcast shivered. Why do I suddenly feel so scared? If I were alone, I would never dare to go. The anchor is actually ready to keep going. It's so brave. Yeshi looked at the direction in which the water flowed. It penetrated into the ground and flowed into a ravine around the 5-color altar. This scene was discovered by people watching the live broadcast. When asked, Yeshi explained calmly. There is nothing strange about this. If you have seen those ancient sacrificial altars, you will find that there must be mountains and water near the altar. This is closely related to the Feng Shui pattern, so there is nothing strange about it. Okay, now I decide to continue walking along this passage. Yeshi turned on the light and walked into the dark passage. Although this lamp is considered good, in this kind of underground, this kind of light has no penetrating ability and can only illuminate a small area. There are still boots from when the water soaked through the leaves under my feet. The stones here have grown strangely because they have not been exposed to the sun for a long time. Moreover, because they are moistened by running water, some places are extremely sharp and can be easily scratched. The ones you see here look very strange. The people on the live broadcast were frightened and kept telling Yeshi to be careful. The road here is not very smooth. Instead, it is extremely bumpy. In some places, it is so narrow that only one person can pass. Drops of water drip down and splash on the stones, adding to the quiet passage. Very strange. Suddenly, Yeshi's footsteps stopped. I heard the sound of running water. It was not the sound of a shallow stream, but a very heavy sound. Let's continue walking inside to see if there is really a dragon pool inside. The anchor is so brave it makes me feel horrified to see him here. He dares to be alone. I have started to get scared. I think of the scenes in those tomb robbers. Anchor, please pay attention to safety. Yeshi walked forward, but the further he went, the harder it became to use his drone. Even the lights dimmed and the signal was not good. He had already seen many barrages complaining. Ding, the number of people in the live broadcast room has exceeded 100,000, and the reward is a biomorphic live broadcast camera, special nutrient solution X3, elementary energy bottle X10, intermediate energy bottle X1, live broadcast satellite X1, water floating cheats X1, and the live broadcast room ID screen name will be displayed globally. A series of ding 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 sounds made Yeshi stunned. When he saw the secret book of floating on the water and opened it, he found that he could learn it. After learning this movement technique, he naturally felt that his body was much lighter, and even the water under your feet could float lightly on it for a short period of time, but just after trying it, I quickly stepped down again. Even Qinggong has come out. Yes, she thought about it and made the right decision. Nothing was more surprising than the 5-color altar. However, due to the bonus of the biological live broadcast camera and the enhanced satellite signal, the originally bad signal suddenly became smoother and the picture became clearer. However, Yeshi discovered that the biological camera turned out to be a few Bs. I don't know what kind of black technology it is. I can already hear the sound of water. Let's keep going forward. The air is already very humid. Yeshi raised his hand and the camera zoomed in. Look, my hand is already very humid, and the riverbanks below are very smooth after being washed. It's easy to fall if you step on them. If you accidentally fall and hit these inverted stalactites, I'm afraid it won't be useful to call an ambulance on the spot. But because of the erosion of the water flow, many beautiful stones have also been produced here. He picked up a purple stone and shook it in front of the camera. The light here is brighter, and most of the surrounding scenes can be seen clearly. Suddenly, Yeshi's face changed. Everyone, listen, the sound of the water flow here is already very intense. There must be a deep pool here, and below. Let's keep going forward. He quickened his pace. Although the floating on water technique is called this name, it does not mean that this technique can only be used on water. At this time, Yeshi's feet were almost in the air, and he stepped on the ground for help after a few steps. This scene was also broadcast live, causing an uproar. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 3. Chapter 3 Black Python Patrol. OMG, OMG, my god, what did I see? Is this the Qingkung of the people of the Dragon Kingdom? He clicked on the void 3 times just now. Am I right, am I blind, or am I dazzled? Oh my god, is this the ancient martial arts of the Dragon Kingdom? I went to the Dragon Kingdom 10 years ago to look for the ancient martial arts, but found nothing. Now it seems that I am too ungrateful. Oh, my god, please bless me. I learned ancient martial arts. I can't believe what I saw. This guy is really live broadcasting. Didn't he do some special effects in the post-production process? The barrage was still shocked when he saw Yeshi's figure suddenly flash, as if he had seen an unimaginable scene. His pupils suddenly shrank, and he was extremely shocked. And when the biological live broadcast machine pointed its camera at the picture in front of them, the barrage in the entire live broadcast room was instantly clear, and everyone was frightened and speechless. It's unbelievable. In front of him was a very deep cave entrance, which went vertically downwards. The sound of running water came from here. Originally, Yeshi should have fixed a rope here and then climbed down. But now, the dark entrance was divided into 4 quarters. One of the places has been blocked. The diameter of the cave entrance is not small. A rough estimate is that it is about 3 or 4 meters. However, the stone wall is quite steep and not very smooth. The sound of rushing water was mixed with the whistling of the wind at the entrance of the cave. Above, a giant python with a huge body and an unknown length was hanging above the entrance of the cave. Except for the snake's head, which was still on the ground, the rest of the snake's body was hanging underneath. This snake was completely black, but in the depths of the darkness, its scales actually reflected silver light, making it unclear what this meant. It's just the snake's head, which is probably more than 30 centimeters in diameter. It looks extremely shocking just lying across here. Such a shocking picture came to my face, and the live broadcast room began to frantically post barrages, and the number of people in the live broadcast room also increased crazily. Holy shit, 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 Python. Barrage body protection, barrage body protection, barrage body protection, barrage body protection. It's so scary. This python looks so terrifying. The whole snake is probably more than 10 meters long. Anchor, what are you waiting for? Run quickly. Does anyone still remember that this time the anchor came here to find a dragon? Look at the giant python in front of you. Does it look like the dragon that the ancients said? It's so damn scary. My soul was scared at that moment. Lose. As for the anchor, why are you standing there motionless? Could it be that you were frightened? Yes, she looked at the barrage and was about to speak when the system's voice sounded in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for improving the progress of exploring the Bone Dragon Pond by 8%. The overall progress is now 18%. Ding! Congratulations to the host for unlocking the first puzzle piece of the secret realm of the White Bone Dragon Pond. As a reward, you will be rewarded with the 9 Sun Divine Skills, Internal Skills, and Mental Techniques, and the White Bone Dragon Pond Fragments X2. Illustrated Book of the White Bone Dragon Pond, the Black Python's Inspection. Black Python Suntan, this is a giant python that has lived for 500 years. Its body is 20 meters long. It failed to transform into a dragon, and only the body of the python is still there. 9 Yang Divine Art, born out of an ancient book handwritten by a legendary figure, it is a martial art that is biased toward masculinity. After it is practiced, a dense purple energy will be generated. The internal energy will be generated at an extremely fast speed and is endless. It is also a holy scripture for healing, and it can cure all diseases. Health, all poisons are not invaded, and it is specially designed to destroy all cold and yin poisonous internal forces. After reading the explanation of the system, Yeshi raised his brows and immediately clicked to learn the 9 Yang magic technique. He instantly felt a warm current spreading to his limbs and bones, and his mind became clear. He lifted his weight as if it was light, and then saw the barrage of wailing. Explained with a calm expression. Don't be afraid, everyone. This black python is dead, but it looks scary now. However, I just saw the bullet screen and suspected that this python is one of those legendary dragons. This may not be false. Yeshi let the biocamera take a close-up, and his whole attitude was as if he was strolling in the courtyard, watching netizens dumbfounded. I asked the camera to zoom in a little closer. You can see that this python's body is extremely huge. According to the old people's terms, it is probably almost a sperm. Therefore, if the ancients saw it and called it a dragon, it would not be impossible. Possible things. But there is one thing that is strange. You can look at the scales of this black python. He picked up a scale from the ground and held it in front of him and looked at it. From the feeling of the scales, it seems that this black python has not been dead for a long time. The black scales are full of luster. However, I didn't see any snakes left behind along the way traces. The barrage has exploded, and all of them are Yeshui's anchor, so brave, anchor, so brave, anchor so brave. The water pool should be under the entrance of this cave. If I want to go down, I'm afraid I have to get the snake body up, otherwise it will be inconvenient to put down the equipment. The black python was lying coldly on the ground, and a young man was explaining to the air that if anyone saw this scene, they would probably be scared to death on the spot. Golden clam, I have never seen this kind of snake after studying snakes for decades, but it is so huge. Some are similar to anacondas, but anacondas will not appear in such deep rocks. The most important thing is, how could it die in this place? I feel that the air is relatively circulated where you are, but there are no green plants at all. Even if there are some crabs and small fish in the pool below, it is not enough for this giant python food. Someone suddenly started a series of popular science on the bullet screen. Yeshi raised his eyebrows when he saw it. He then took a look at the number of people in the live broadcast room. It had exceeded 200,000 in an instant. It was just the number of people. There were also many foreign friends among them. I didn't know where they came from. The questions raised by everyone are also the questions I want to ask, but don't worry, wait for me to pull this python up first. Several biological live broadcast machines were buzzing like bees, shooting Yeshi's movements at 720 degrees without dead angles, which scared the netizens enough. Too brave, I didn't know what it meant when I said that courage is greater than the sky before, but I understood it after seeing the anchor. Anchor, be careful, this python is not right. Why does it feel like it's alive? When the anchor came in, this place was full of dust except for dust. It seems that no one has been here for at least decades, and there are no signs of snake activities. Why does this python still look like it has just died? A bunch of idiots. Of course it's because this is a special effect or tool. Haha, is it possible for such a big python to appear in such a place? I've played you around like crazy, and you're starting to care about this actor. I'm so funny. The ID that posted this barrage, let alone netizens, Yeshi is familiar with it. His name is, kicking the door frame with one foot, and there is not a single good word in the barrage. From the beginning of the ridicule to now, his body is firmly staying in the live broadcast room. Yeshi put down the equipment on his back and took out the rope from his backpack. This is the diamond rope he bought specially for survival in the wild. Wow! He stretched out his hand to open the diamond lock, and then put it on the head of the black python. The rope had just fallen, and Yeshi suddenly remembered the black python introduced by the system, as if something had been overlooked. Boom! Yeshi remembered that the system only said that the black python failed to transform into a dragon, and only the snake body remained, but the system did not say that the black python was dead. The diamond rope was put on the head of the black python. At this time, Yeshi was only 2 meters away from the black python. If the black python suddenly jumped, it would probably attack him in just a moment. The entire barrage was in a panic. Hum, it's alive. The anchor is in danger. It's over. I'm a little afraid to watch the next scene. The anchor will not be torn to pieces by the black python. I just called the police again. This is too scary. Anchor, tell me, this is a special effect, this is post-editing. Yeshi was also startled by the sudden rise of the black python, but after careful observation, he found that the python was not alive. It was just the body that was moving in response to the stress, and there was nothing else. So he waved to the camera. Don't be afraid, just now the black python should only be moving its muscles, and it is not alive yet. Besides, I'm not afraid. What are you afraid of? Yeshi actually laughed. Seeing him like this, the netizens watching the live broadcast wanted to give him 666. They had never seen such a brave anchor. Although he said so, Yeshi could feel that something was wrong with the surrounding environment. It seemed that something had changed because of the black python's movement. Yeshi felt that the internal force in his body was constantly circulating, and even a layer of flame-like film naturally grew on the outside of his skin. The whole person was actually covered with a layer of golden light to resist the unknown breath outside. I know, snakes are particularly poisonous. No wonder they rewarded me with the 9-yang magic skill. I'm afraid that the snake's body moved just now, and it actually released this extremely yin poison. Yeshi suddenly understood, and then suddenly found that people on the barrage began to make wishes. After seeing clearly why these people made wishes, he couldn't help but be speechless. It was because the 9-yang magic skill naturally restrained the outside world's poisonous air, so he was like being coated with a layer of golden light. Not only that, he also saw people who popularized science seriously explained why Yeshi had this situation, using a lot of professional terms, and it was particularly tongue-twisting, which won the unanimous conviction of netizens. Yeshi. If he hadn't felt the internal force flowing in his body, he might have been convinced. It's strange that he can bluff people. Yeshi gathered all his internal force in his hands, and suddenly shouted, trying to pull the black python out. While pulling, he actually saw a blurry python spirit with vertical pupils looking at him fiercely above the black python. This scene was also captured by the camera and broadcast live. Suddenly, the whole barrage was full of screams. Host, host, don't move damn, I saw the soul of this black python, it's too scary. I really thank the whole live broadcast for curing my heart disease. I am now connecting to the Wi-Fi of the underworld. As a determined scientific researcher, I am actually unwilling to believe that there is such a thing as soul in the world. This has a strong impact on my worldview, so I have reported the entire live broadcast room for fraud and treating special effects as live broadcasts. The netizen who said this was sprayed like a sieve, and even the famous troll kicked the door frame and started to insult. Special effects are special effects, you report it, if you can do it, go ahead. Yes, she pulled the King Kong rope, and occasionally saw the barrage of demons dancing, and couldn't help but be speechless. Hearing only a loud shout, yes, she felt that the fiery internal power in his body was flowing continuously. His hands were strong enough to split mountains and crack rocks. He pulled the diamond rope and suddenly moved up. He stepped back. The snake's body was extremely huge, probably weighing 1,000 kilograms. Heavy. He threw it into the air with a huge force, and was about to fall down. Yeshi's figure was elegant, soared back into the air, and suddenly pulled the giant python hard, and unexpectedly the python hanging in the hole was forced out. The black python pulled up. The barrage that was still arguing suddenly stopped. Everyone looked at the scene in front of them in stunned silence. One of the college students in his 20s who was watching the live broadcast in his dormitory even rubbed his eyes. There was still someone standing next to him. Same goes for several roommates. And the popularity of Yeshi's live broadcast room is rising crazily. Countless people have forwarded the current screenshots or videos, instantly attracting countless comments. There is even a latest hot search on Yinduo, and Yeshui's marketing account is with some mysterious ancient martial arts descendants fighting a giant python, some anchor looking for a dragon and finding a giant dragon, etc. Originally, Yeshi didn't have such great strength, but the existence of his inner strength was like lifting 1,000 pounds, and all he could hear was a rumbling sound. The others took 7 or 8 steps back before dragging the black python out. At this time, the netizens watching the live broadcast room were completely stunned and extremely excited, and so was Yeshi. Before seeing the entire body of the black python, the shock was not that great. However, when the entire body of the black python was presented in front of everyone, no one could control their expressions. Yeshi's live broadcast machine can be regarded as a high-tech technology, but he was still aware of it when he saw it in person. The black python in front of me looked like it was made of black iron, and its scales shone with black light, and its whole body was shiny. At this time, it appeared in front of people all over the world. In an instant, it was like going from a modern city to a legendary myth. In the wilderness. Such a rough and bold black python, but full of infinite power, does not look like the other pythons that are full of evil, but has a special sense of nobility, especially when Yeshijin sees it so close. He put down the contempt in his heart, but the live broadcast room and the internet exploded because of this picture, or this video. The hot search #1 on a certain Big I platform immediately exploded, followed by red flames representing popularity. An anchor discovered a dragon in a mountain cave. The accompanying picture is a screenshot of Yeshi standing at the entrance of the cave, looking at the black python hovering on its side, and a video of him pulling the black python out of the hole with a diamond rope. What did I see? What is this crazy person doing? Martial arts, oh no, the fantasy world reflects reality, right? So is it a dragon? 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 Some netizens have already started to go crazy. Not only domestic but also major foreign websites, among which the trend of Little Bluebird also appeared in Yeshi and his live broadcast room. Ding, the number of people in the host's live broadcast room has exceeded 500,000. As a reward of 20 intermediate energy bottles, it can help you return to your full strength anytime, anywhere, even if you already have internal strength. Planetary Gene Nutrient Solution X10, even if you already have internal strength, taking a bottle of planetary nutrient solution can still enhance your physical limit and develop your genetic potential. The system space is opened and corresponding materials can be stored. Explore the live broadcast room and start the reward mode. Black Technology Light Firefly X6. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 4. Chapter 4, Bone River Channel. Yeshi's mood hadn't calmed down yet, and there was a constant buzzing in his ears. He didn't pay much attention to these rewards. After all, he had discovered that the best rewards in the system were given during the process of exploring the secrets. In the past 2 months, not to mention the 9 Yang Divine Art, there was not even any iron sand palm. The rewards of the system were all stored in the space. Yeshi pretended to put his hand into his backpack, then took out a bottle of nutrient solution from the space and drank it directly. The nutrient solution flowed down his throat, and Yeshi felt as if his whole body was being stimulated, just like the menstrual cleansing and marrow cutting in martial arts. His whole body was instantly enlightened, and even the 9 Yang Divine Art was running much faster. The internal force in the body increased miraculously. The rewards of the system itself tend to be on the technology side, but exploring the map also rewards the fantasy side. I wonder why I came here and suddenly rewarded martial arts secrets. It turns out that it is because the system itself does not have them. But in this case, it will make this world more interesting. Mysterious. He shook his head and put these things behind him, but when he once again turned his eyes to the python corpse in front of him, the excitement in his heart dissipated a lot at this time. He took the time to take a look at the barrage. OMG, this guy from Dragon Kingdom is my god. Originally, I clicked in because the title of this live broadcast room is so interesting, but if I really find a dragon, I really haven't thought about it that way, but I didn't expect, my worldview has been impacted, who come and save me. I was attracted by the anchor's skills, Yeshen. Unexpectedly, I found the feeling of watching martial arts blockbusters in a live broadcast room. Even if it is special effects, I admit it, such good special effects must have burned a lot of money. Has Yeshen considered asking the team behind him to make a martial arts film? It will definitely be a hit. I am the agent of XXXX Media Company, Yeshen can contact me if necessary. Such a huge python body lying here is really shocking, but it also brings up a question: how did this python survive and why did it die here? It doesn't look like it died of starvation, but it was like climbing up from a hole and then suddenly dying. Anchor, you are very popular now. You don't know how many platforms outside are talking about you, and it has even become popular abroad. I asked my roommate to watch it, but he found it too scary and stopped watching. Otherwise, the live broadcast room, there are more people. Because of the popularity of his live broadcast room, it has attracted the attention of the upper management of Yinduo. They have provided traffic support to the entire live broadcast room. As for whether the live broadcast room is true or not, of course it is fake. Is it necessary to ask? Yeshi looked at the skyrocketing number of people, from 500,000, 600,000, 800,000, and soon exceeded 1 million. People were attracted by this black python, which was as cold as iron. Lived. The live broadcast room exceeded 1 million, and the reward was still a 3-piece set, so I didn't pay attention anymore, but I still explained to the barrage. I know there are many people who think this is special effects or team packaging, but I want to make it clear here that even if I have a team, I am the only one. As for special effects, let alone special effects, you can take a look here. After saying this, Yeshi began to prepare for the process of going down into the hole. Although he could go down directly with his internal strength, considering that it was too scary, he still planned to follow the original plan without internal strength. Bang bang bang. Yeshi was hammering nails at the entrance of the cave alone. As for the biological live broadcast machine, It was broadcasting everything that happened here without blind spots, especially the entire body of the black python. After getting things done quickly, Yeshi looked at the camera, gestured, and said, "Have you seen the safety rope on my body? Generally, you must have this in place when going down in a place like this. I didn't do it before because it is strictly a slope. If there is no wind, normal people can go down. It's just that the wind is getting stronger from behind, so it looks a bit dangerous. Now the lights here have illuminated the entire entrance of the cave. Let's take one last look at this black python and say hello to him. We will go down now. The sound of the water is very heavy. If I told a previous netizen if it is the same, if this black python crawled out of the dragon pond, then it is undoubtedly the legendary dragon." Yeshi paused, looked at the barrage and continued, "But there is another possibility, that is, there is another mystery below. What if this python is really just a snake? After all, the gap between dragons and snakes is quite big. Since they both have with such a huge python, there may not be a real dragon in the bone dragon pond." After saying this, he stopped looking at the barrage and went straight down the rope. But as he went further and further down, Yeshi felt something strange. He found that the deeper he went down, the colder he got, and the depth of the hole was much deeper than he expected. He had obviously tested the depth before, but after actually coming down, I found that this was not the case. At this time, when Yeshi exhaled, there was a very obvious white mist. However, because of the internal power to protect the body and the nine yang divine art, the cold air could not enter the body. But if it were an ordinary person, it would have been I was so frozen that I couldn't move. Why do I feel there is something wrong? Didn't the anchor say before that this hole is only about 20 meters deep? I looked at the anchor's movements and estimated the time I should have come down long ago. Let me go, what you said is true, there won't be any problems, right? Could it be that a ghost has broken the wall? Where did the ghost come from? What kind of feudal superstition is this? It's not obvious the host's estimate was wrong. What's so surprising? You're all in a hurry. Do you really think of him as your biological father? The idea of kicking the door frame started again. It was simply the simplest bad taste, the most extreme sourness, and it suddenly caused many people to curse. Yeshi frowned and looked at the camera and said, "The further down you go, the colder it gets. Although it is colder going deeper than on the surface, it is impossible for the temperature to drop to this level. I'm afraid the Longton below is not ordinary." "Of Longton? I'm very confused about the water flowing above. Why is the mountain spring water so cold? It's almost as cold as the water on the snow-capped mountains. Looking at it now, I'm afraid it has a lot to do with the Longton below. It's just that the distance seems to be different from what I measured before. It's been almost 20 minutes since I came down. But don't worry, I can feel the sound of the water getting heavier and heavier. It's already very close. I'm afraid it won't be possible. How long will it take for it to fall to the bottom?" Why does the anchor feel so calm? He knows that the distance he measured is wrong. This is a big taboo when going out on adventures. It looks like he is a newbie and doesn't know anything. And I found that although Yeshen was pulling the rope, he didn't care about the danger at all just now. His whole body was leaning outwards. Most people go down along the safety rope, but I think Yeshen went down with the safety rope. This is a weird scene. Yeshi didn't care what the barrage said. He already felt that Longton was close in front of him. The rumbling sound of water rang in his ears. He felt that the stone walls he was stepping on were very smooth. It was almost impossible to put his foot down. However, because of the light, it can also be seen that the color of the stone wall is a bright yellow, and it looks like fat, even a little soft. Bang sound. Yeshi jumped down directly, dust flashed under his feet, and a protruding feldspar was shattered by him. Longton has arrived. Yeshi murmured to himself, but to his surprise, the system didn't ding 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 yet, so he immediately overturned his guess. I'm afraid it wasn't here yet. Put the light in front, because it is too dark here, so even though the light is very bright, it can only illuminate a distance of 2 meters nearby. I originally thought that walking down here was the Bone Dragon Pond, but now I think I must have guessed wrong. This is an underground river. If I want to go to the real Dragon Pond, I'm afraid I have to follow this underground river. Yashi glanced at the river water. He originally wanted to see how deep the water was, but suddenly, his eyes froze, and the live broadcast room was also boiling. I finally know why this place is called the White Bone Dragon Pond and not another name. Have you seen anything in the river? Yashi looked at the nearby rocks, finally found an easy place to land and stepped on them, then squatted down and signaled the biological live broadcast machine to zoom in on the close-up and close-up. Looking at the barrage of exclamations, Yashi also nodded. Yes, we can clearly see that the river is full of white bones, but we don't know whether they are white bones or animal bones, and why they are covered with the entire river. But we have finally solved the first mystery, which is why this place is rumored to be called the Bone Dragon Pond. Originally, I was scared to death by the bones all over the ground, but after Yeshen did this, I was miraculously not scared anymore. With so many bones, there can't be any monsters, right? Some barrages have gone crazy. We have to believe in science, but if all the people here are human bones, it will be a big problem. I am afraid that some special departments will be dispatched here to check what happened, and whether it is human sacrifice. Kicks the door frame. I'm just asking, are you people fools? Can't you see such an obvious bug? Hey, after all these years, the bones here are still shining. If you look at this close-up, it looks like a person has just died. As a doctor, I want to say that if human bones are soaked in water for a long time, they will usually rot in half a month to a month. Whether they are human bones or not, there should be some scattered flesh and blood in the river, unless there has been a major flood here within a month, but if it is a flood, the bones will be blown away, so this is indeed not true. The barrage began to have different opinions again. One of the netizens whose Pikachu avatar was named Jinmobei posted a barrage saying, Jinmobei, you are the ones who are stupid. Please make it clear to me from the strong wind that suddenly appeared at level 7 or 8 as soon as you came in, to the mysterious 5-color altar, and the black python behind it. It seems so fantasy. I think this is when the Hermit Master appears and prepares us to accept that this world is not simple. In other words, the spiritual energy is revived. When Yashi saw Jinmobei's speech, he felt a row of crows flying above his head and felt a little speechless, but the most important thing was the bones in the river. He looked down and saw that the water of the underground river was very clear. If he looked carefully, he could see that there were some small, round stones underneath, but the most conspicuous among them were the white bones scattered everywhere, scattered across the waterway. Looking from here to the front, they are all made of cold white bones, which makes one's heart tremble. This underground river should be quite long from the sound. At this time, the temperature in the cave has reached a level that ordinary people cannot bear. If Yashi had not been protected by the 9 Yang divine art, he would not have been able to stay here for long. Now, he did not rashly put his hand into the water, but took out a tool similar to a large iron pliers from his backpack, put on gloves, and prepared to pick up a piece of white bones from it to take a look. The barrage was full of surprise, and everyone was lamenting that the anchor actually brought this thing with him. Yashi put the iron tool into the water, but at this moment, everyone saw that frost suddenly formed on the iron tool and kept spreading upwards, and Yashi, who was holding it, also felt a biting cold in his palm. His pupils shrank, and he quickly let go, and the iron pliers fell into the water with a click, and then the frost covered it, and only heard the sound of snapping. The iron pliers that had undergone the most standard modern industrial smelting actually shattered in an instant, and then lay in the river. Oh my God, what kind of water is this? Fortunately, Yeshen felt something was wrong and didn't reach out to touch it directly as the comments said, otherwise it would be a disaster. I used to use aqua regia when I was doing scientific research. The river water here, It can't be Aqua Regia, it doesn't look like it, and if it is Aqua Regia, I don't know if it will corrode iron and the river channel. How come it looks like nothing has changed? The camera just zoomed in. Did you see those broken pieces of iron? They were gradually dissolved. Is this the ninth wonder of the world? Is there something wrong with my eyes? No, this is really a special effect. What special effects company is so awesome? Can you introduce it to me? I want to buy some stocks. I think this is almost the same as the legendary corpse dissolving water. It's really scary. So did the black python think of crawling out just to escape from this water? Yeshen just said there are real dragons down here. What kind of dragons don't live in those blessed places? Who lives in a pool of water that corrodes the body at any time? Yeshen, go back. It's creepy here. Yeshi looked at these comments and shook his head because the ding sound rang again. And the mysterious golden-haired clam also spoke up. You all are wrong. This is not corrosive water at all. It's too cold. Don't you notice Yeshen's skin and the stone state nearby? I feel that just standing there is probably only a few degrees, not to mention underwater. But such words triggered a lot of rebuttals. One of them kicked the door frame and suddenly jumped out. Sometimes I really don't know what's the point of you working so hard to wash people. Is it because the water army gets paid? How many degrees? Do you know what the concept of temperature is? How dare you say that? You don't even look at the clothes this person is wearing. Haha, if it's really a few degrees, the person would have been frozen to death long ago. How can you wash him white? I really think what you said is getting more and more outrageous. Have you gone crazy reading novels? Yeshi was about to answer, but heard the sound of ding ding ding. Ding, congratulations to the host for increasing the progress of exploring the White-Bone Dragon Pond by 12%, and the overall progress by 30%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the second puzzle of the White-Bone Dragon Pond, and the reward is the Gecko Wall Climbing skill, a pair of Sui Pearls and Warm Jade, 500-year-old Snake Gallbladder X1, Pseudo Jiaodan X1, and White-Bone Dragon Pond Fragment X2. Gecko Wall Climbing skill, it is an internal strength and soft skill derived from a legendary temple. It is a skill that specializes in training people to move on the wall. After the skill is completed, you can stick your back to the wall and walk on the wall with the power of your elbows and heels. You can walk up and down and left and right as you wish, just like a gecko walking on the wall. It takes 25 years of internal strength to practice this skill. Sui Pearls and Warm Jade, after wearing it, you will be warm in winter and cool in summer, your body will be kept at a constant temperature, and poisonous objects will not get close to you, which can promote the practice of internal skills. 500-year-old snake gallbladder, in the Jiao there is no snake gall, so this is the snake gallbladder shed by a python that failed to transform into a dragon. Taking it can greatly increase your energy and make your kidney water like holy water. Fake dragon pill, the inner pill left by a python that failed to transform into a dragon. It is a semi-finished product. Taking it can increase your internal strength by 200 years. White-Bone Dragon Pool illustration, White-Bone River, 5-colored stone. White-Bone River, according to rumors, a dragon has 9 sons, each of which is different. The real dragon in the White-Bone Dragon Pool is the real dragon called Ilang. It is frost white and flawless, soaring into the sky, with frost turning into rain. The White-Bone River is the icy water transformed by the breath of Ilang. The bones in it are the enemies of Ilang. They are transformed into bones, and the water spirit is forever suppressed in it, and the soul cannot be reborn. 5-colored stone, next to Ilang, there must be a blue stone among the 5-colored stones, which can be used to build an ancient 5-colored altar to cross the starry sky. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the White-Bone Dragon Pond. Author, Wo Yuyi Pian Hai. Chapter 5. As soon as Yeshi extracted it, he felt two Suizu warm jades hanging around his neck. After seeing the effect of the snake gall, he coughed lightly and swallowed it directly. This is how Yeshi did with his inner elixir. In an instant, he felt as if his dantian was burning. In such a cold space, cold sweat fell from his forehead. Even this special expedition suit was soaked with sweat. The camera did not move away. Netizens also saw Yeshi's current appearance and immediately sent a dense barrage of comments nervously. Yeshen, what's wrong with you? Why is your complexion so bad all of a sudden? Are you really cold? Cold as hell, didn't you see the sweat on your forehead? But it looks like cold sweat. Is there something wrong with the host's body? I'm numb. Why did something suddenly happen when I was standing here? I feel like Yeshen didn't do anything. Is it the real dragon punishing him? Each person had his own opinion on the barrage, and Yeshi could not take care of the current situation. He sat down cross-legged and began to practice the 9-yang divine art in his body. The energy contained in this pseudo-dragon pill has reached the level that ordinary people will explode and die if swallowed. Even running the 9-yang divine art is very difficult. The appearance of his meditation was broadcast live, which caused a lot of discussion, especially at the end. There was a faint fire on his body, and this fire was not the texture of the flame, but like jade, as if the fire jade turned into the flame. Yeshi felt that the internal force in the meridians was boiling. The 9-yang divine art was originally very strong and yang. If it continued like this, I am afraid that even if the power of the pseudo-dragon pill was absorbed, it would cause some damage to the body. But at the same time, the Suizu warm jade hanging around his neck emitted a soft glow. The light white light was extremely gentle and comfortable, which made Yeshi's originally frowned brows relax a lot. In addition, the environment here was frost, and the fire and frost actually digested all the energy of the pseudo-jiaodan. When Yeshi opened his eyes again, he felt that he had infinite power all over his body, but his internal strength plus the previous one had reached 300 years, which saved him from 300 years of hard practice. This time it was too reckless, but it was a blessing in disguise. Yeshi reminded himself in his heart that he must find a safe place next time, and when he stood up and looked at the barrage in the live broadcast room, as expected, he saw a group of people questioning. Because of the inner elixir washing, his current appearance is more handsome, and naturally has a kind of worldly temperament. When seeing Yeshi who reappeared, the barrage was in an uproar. What's the matter? Why does Yeshen feel that he has become much more handsome again? Tell me if you secretly turned on the beauty filter. Yeshen is too good looking. I want to give birth to a baby for Yeshen. Yeshen, were you practicing martial arts just now? How come your body glows? Are you the legendary master of the hidden martial arts school? Yejun is so amazing. Yeshi coughed twice and saw the famous popular science master Aaleguo in the barrage starting a series of dazzling popular science. His eyes lit up and he immediately said, "Don't think too much, we still have to believe in science. Because the White Bone River here is too dangerous, we continue to explore forward. Isn't there an old saying in Longguo, since we are here, we should see what the legendary Longtan looks like?" At the beginning, the river was not narrow, but as we continued to walk inside, some places were too narrow to pass through, so Yeshi threw the bag he was carrying behind him up, then took a deep breath, flashed, and stuck directly to the wall. Although this stone wall is a bit special, the gecko with 300 years of internal strength can still come and go freely. Under the camera, he was like a real gecko, easily passing through this narrow stone wall, dazzling people, exclaiming, and the barrage was even more crazy, asking Yeshi what kind of skills this was, and exclaiming that they also wanted to learn it. Yeshi casually said the gecko wall climbing skill and then fell to the ground. The expedition bag just happened to fall down. He grabbed it and put it on his back again. His movements were smooth and unrestrained. It really has a name. Is there any expert who can popularize what the gecko wall climbing skill is? I am so envious that my eyes are about to turn red. I once studied in Shaolin Temple for a period of time. There is a skill similar to what Yeshen said, called snake-shaped kung fu, but theirs is not at the same level as Yeshen's. Thank you for the explanation of this, young master. I decided to go to the east to learn the legendary Dragon Country secrets. Oh, I am afraid that God will be surprised when he sees Yeshen. God, Dragon Country is not under my jurisdiction. Yeshi glanced at the comments and felt that these netizens were so funny. He couldn't help laughing after reading some of the comments. However, the most important thing was to pass through the narrow underground river as soon as possible. After passing through an extremely narrow passage, the river gradually widened, and it could even be considered a big river and deep water. However, under the illumination of the lights, it was found that the water was strangely clear. The bones that were caught at a glance did not look like humans. Only a piece of them was left, but they were also huge, which always caused people to exclaim. I feel that the front is getting brighter. I'm afraid we are about to reach the place where the Bone River is doomed. It seems that this time, the hard work will not be in vain, and we will still see the dragon pool in the ancient legend. Yeshi's eyes lit up, and his feet were as fast as flying arrows. His toes only moved down a little, and his figure jumped up. So even though they have seen the scene many times, all the netizens who watched the live broadcast couldn't help but exclaimed. The light in the distance became brighter and brighter. Netizens and Yeshi originally thought it was the light falling from the sky, but the closer they got, the more horrified they found that it was not the case. I always thought it was dawn, but why didn't I expect that these lights were actually frost and snow? I used to scold that golden mouse, but now I feel, I have limited knowledge. It's amazing. If I hadn't been following Yeshen's live broadcast from the beginning, I wouldn't believe it to be true. How could this be the real you? The famous troll brother Menzi was also dumbfounded. This film and television company of yours has really spent a lot of money to create such scenes. It is really amazing. If I were not a firm believer in materialism, I would really be affected by this. I was deceived by a prefabricated scene. It's amazing. So the iron tongs put into the water were really broken into pieces by the ice. Let me go. In this case, how low would the temperature be there? How did Yeshen carry it over? Is he still a human being? In fact, because Sui Yunyuanzu still has 300 years of internal power of the 9 Yang divine skill, Yeshi really didn't feel much change in the external temperature. Therefore, he was surprised when he saw the icy cave in front of him. As for the face, he had already thought about the question on the barge and just didn't answer it. The ice cave was only 500 meters away from Yeshi. He arrived quickly. The frost outside had spread into the river, and the crystal clear Bone River was already covered with pieces of broken ice. Yeshi asked the camera to zoom out to see the whole place clearly. He opened his mouth and exhaled hot breath, which even turned into frost and fell down. The sound here was empty and echoed, and only a clear young boy's voice was heard. I zoomed the camera out a bit so everyone can see the overall appearance of this place clearly. Actually, it hasn't been that long since I walked down the rocky slope to here, but the temperature difference between the upper and lower parts has reached an alarming level. I know there are people watching my live broadcast who want to come in and take a look, but I personally have special equipment. That's why we are alive now, and others may not be. He reached out and took out the warm jade hanging around his neck. This is warm jade. After wearing it, it will be warm in winter and cool in summer, keeping my body temperature constant, so I can always stand here talking to you. This passage explains Yeshi's doubts very well, but not everyone buys it. Some people already firmly believe that Yeshi is the descendant of the hidden sect, practicing some ancient inheritance. It is worth mentioning that there is no Mr. Jin in this world, and naturally there is no well-known internal strength. Instead, there are some martial arts inheritance, called ancient martial arts, which can be used to practice things like bright strength, dark strength, and transformation of strength. From the outside, the entire entrance of the cave was covered with frost and snow, and the top was extremely high, with an extremely wide view. The wide angle of the live broadcast made Yeshi look incomparably smaller, like a villain who had strayed into the land of giants. I believe that before this, many people were dubious about the creature dragon, including me. It was precisely because I wanted to know whether dragons existed that I came to explore the rumored ancient bone dragon pool. However, during my series of experiences, I became more and more convinced that dragons existed in the world. I believe everyone's thoughts have changed drastically, and so have I. Our country is called the Dragon Kingdom. Almost all people in the Dragon Kingdom yearn for dragons. In ancient myths and legends, rumors of dragons are common. However, in modern times, real dragons have gradually become more and more scientific. Standing on the opposite side. Let us enter the bone dragon pond together and see if the myth can reflect reality. When Yeshi finished speaking these words, the camera turned sideways on his face. Although his eyes reflected the ice and snow, they were filled with endless fire. The words he spoke were even more shocking, triggering a barrage of fire. Everyone agreed. Although there were still many unscrupulous people fishing in troubled waters, there was no irony in the doorframe. Because the real dragon is indeed the spiritual totem of the Dragon Kingdom. The camera zoomed in, following Yeshi's footsteps into the frost cave, and tens of millions of netizens followed him, wanting to uncover the mystery of the bone dragon pond, and even wanted to ask, are there real dragons in the world? Just when Yeshi stepped in, there was a tingling sound in his ears. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 6. Ding, congratulations to the host for improving the progress of exploring the bone dragon pond by 20%, and the overall progress is 50%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the puzzle of the third chapter of the white bone dragon pond. You will be rewarded with Qigong movement Lingbo Way of You, Dustproof Beads X1, 1000-year eye silkworms, eye silkworm clothes, and white bone dragon pond fragments X3. Ding, remind the host to complete the side task, explain the 5-color altar and the bone dragon pond during the live broadcast. Lingbo Way of You, born out of the Qigong movement of a legendary figure. It is an extremely superior Qigong, based on the 88 and 64 hexagrams of the Book of Changes. The user walks in the direction of the hexagrams in a specific order, starting from the first step to the last step is exactly a big circle. This step is very delicate and requires a lot of internal strength to be successful. Baichen beads, place the beads on the dust, and the dust will spread outward, hence the name Baichen. 1000-year-old eye silkworm, the most poisonous, cold, and clean thing in the world. Eye silkworm is born with the most powerful poison, and it is also the nemesis of other poisons. Silkworms are pure white like jade, with a slight cyan color, and are much brighter than ordinary silkworms. When the child has more than doubled in size, he looks like an earthworm, and his body is as transparent as crystal. Eye silkworm is the best tonic for cultivating yin internal power, especially the 1000-year-old eye silkworm, which can increase internal power for more than 800 years. Eye silkworm clothes, 1000-year-old eye silkworm spun silk into clothing, which is invulnerable. Not only can it withstand the deep internal power of top-notch masters, but it is also the nemesis of poisons. Illustrated Book of the White Bone Dragon Pond, Millennium Eye Silkworms, 5-colored bluestone bed, Elongcave. 5-color bluestone seat, a bed made of 5-color bluestone. It is covered with frost and snow. It is extremely cold and no one can touch it except eye silkworms and cheelongs. Elongcave, no matter how high the mountain is, immortals will be famous, no matter how deep the water is, there will be dragons. Wherever the dragon is not a blessing, the dragon itself is a blessing. The dragon is transformed into a Elongcave by this cave. Hans Huan Kung Fu practice the Dharma and get twice the result with half the effort. Yeshi heard a series of ding 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 sounds, and he really didn't expect that there were not only real dragons here, but also ice silkworms. As for the side mission reminded by the system, he touched his backpack and felt a little embarrassed because he had indeed forgotten the side mission. It was because the more magical things he saw from the 5-color altar to the back, the more magical things he saw. I forgot there was this subplot. With the thought in his mind, he received the Lingbo Way of You. Although there was no substantial change, Yeshi felt that the internal energy in his body, which was like a vast ocean, seemed to have found an outlet and was leaking out. Yeshi's figure floated like a startling giant. He took one step, took a breath, and exhaled when he took the second step. He completed the 64 hexagrams. In this way, every time he walked, his internal strength would improve. In the eyes of netizens in the live broadcast room, this scene made him look like an ordinary person. Yeshi only walked once, then stopped and stopped. At this time, he had entered the Along Cave. As far as he could see, there was a sheet of frost, an extremely bright holy land of ice and snow. He looked at the camera and was about to speak, but his ears rang again. It turned out that the number of people in the live broadcast room had exceeded 2 million. However, this time it seems that because the number of people in the live broadcast room is increasing, the system has become more generous. Because Along Cave is extremely cold and the inexplicable magnetic field blocks the signal, the previous B-type live broadcast machine has been very difficult, but this time, the flying ice silkworm type black tech live broadcast machine that can fly in Along Cave was specially rewarded. The sound of ding 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 kept ringing in his ears, and Yeshi pretended not to hear it and began to introduce. I said before that the reason why I came to explore the White Bone Dragon Pond this time is to explore the traces of the real dragon, and to prove to everyone that dragons and modern technology are not on opposite sides. I was still very nervous at first, but now, I can tell you with absolute certainty that yes, there are real dragons in this world. What you see in front of you is the true dragon cave, but the true dragon here may be different from what you imagined. The one here is the Along, the dragon of frost. Therefore, as we get closer and closer to Longtan, the temperature will get lower and lower, so much so that an ice cave will be formed directly here. Yeshi explained as he walked. He pointed at Along Cave with a serious expression, but not all the comments on the barrage were in agreement. Along. I just asked Du Niang temporarily. This kind of dragon was indeed recorded in ancient historical legends, but that was a long time ago. Sure enough, the older it is, the harder it is to trace it, so the anchor said Along, obviously lying to you. Actually, I want to believe Yeshen, but wow, Yeshen, you clearly came to the White Bone Dragon Pond to find the real dragon, but why do you know everything when you look at this place? Do you have such a wide range of stored knowledge? Popular science guy, where is our brother Ala? Summon the golden mouse and brother Menza at the same time, come and fight for 300 rounds, let's see which one is more real. Yeshi looked at the barrage with disbelief as always. He did not stop, but continued deep into the Along Cave. He still remembered that there should be a frost bed made of 5-color blue stones here. The barrage was noisy, and Kapujun Alegio was at a loss for words for a while, but he specially posted the barrage to ask everyone to wait. Offline, in a special family building in a well-known university in the imperial capital, a man in his 50s looked at Yeshi's live broadcast room. His ID was clearly that of the famous Alegio in the live broadcast room. Although the various things that happened before are a bit strange, they are not inexplicable with the addition of various scientific knowledge of physics, geography, and biology. However, up to now, if this live broadcast room is really a live broadcast and the anchor has not designed it in advance, it is somewhat difficult to explain it based on the knowledge he has learned. So he put down his hands on the keyboard, then picked up his mobile phone and started calling a physicist who had just won the Nobel Prize, asking if there was any principle that could be explained in the live broadcast room in front of him. Yashi continued to walk forward. This Elang cave was extremely large. As he walked, he explained to netizens what Elang was, why the White Bone River channel was covered with bones, and the reasons for the formation of the frost cave here. The frost here is actually not formed due to any special reason. It is just because of the Elang's breath, that is, the frost and snow naturally formed between the breath of the real dragon. Yashi's expression was very serious and he continued. You have always been curious about what kind of creature the bones in the White Bone River are. According to my guess, these should be the enemies of Elang. After Elang defeated the enemy, he suppressed the enemy's bones here forever. After saying this, Yashi looked at the barrage and found that the barrage was in chaos, with those who supported his words and those who did not support his words mixed together. In fact, Yashi didn't expect that so many people would support him, but if he thought about it, if he followed him all the way to the live broadcast, he would really believe that everything in front of him was not fake. Thinking of this, Yashivian ignored the barrage and walked straight inside. Suddenly his footsteps stopped and his pupils shrank. At the same time, a clear young boy's voice rang out in the ice cave. There is actually a frost stone bed made of 5 color stones here. What is even more surprising is that there is a silkworm on the 5 color blue stone frost bed. Yashi's tone was very incredible. He did not extract the Millennium Eye silkworm, but he did not expect that it was precisely because of this action that he saw this sacred object with his own eyes. The live camera also looked over following Yashi's words. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the White Bone Dragon Pond. Author, Xuanhuan Pian Hai. Chapter 7. The Elang cave was already covered by a sheet of frost. This ice cave is extremely wide, and a thick layer of ice has formed on the ground. However, the ice layer is still covered with soft frost and snow. At this time, in Yashi's body, the internal power of the 9 Yang divine art was flowing in his body, causing heat to naturally arise in his body. Not to mention the buff Xiang heat that came with the 9 Yang divine art, which he could control as if it were his own hands and feet. No matter how powerful the 9 Yang divine art chi was, it was like a warm current in Yashi's body. Less than 10 meters away from Yashi's camera, the Milky Way of frost and snow in the sky hung upside down, and below, there was a large platform more than 10 meters long. It is the frost stone bed made of 5 color blue stones. It is completely sky blue. There are blue waves flowing in the middle of the stone bed. It is clear blue and transparent. The whole stone bed looks like an extraordinary fairy treasure at a glance. And on the stone cold frost stone bed, there lay an ice silkworm about the length of a human forearm. Its body was pure white as jade, with a slight green light. It only took about 6 or 7 hours to get here from the original mountains, but it was like going from urban technology to ancient myths and legends all at once. Everything in front of him was too challenging for people's inherent cognition. When Yashi saw the Millennium Eye silkworm, he suddenly discovered the logic of the system. He probably figured out what was here and what the reward was. The barrage in the live broadcast room was silent for a while, and all the netizens watching the live broadcast couldn't help but look at the frost stone bed and the ice silkworms on the stone bed. But after a moment of silence, the barrage started to go crazy. I'm really grateful to Yeshen for showing us this. Even if this is actually a special effect or a scene built in advance, I still feel that my life is worth it. Jin Mao Bei, why do some people still think this is false? Jin Mao Bei, a person who has been watching Yeshen's live broadcasts since the beginning, I can tell you clearly, yes, all of this is true, it's true. Oh, did my God show a miracle in front of me? Take a nap in autumn, I checked out the route that the anchor took all the way. I happen to have a friend in a nearby mountain village, and he is also very interested in exploring. I will now ask my friend to see if the anchor is there still in the studio. Yashi did not get close to the ice stone bed because he felt that his 300 years of internal strength alone could not withstand the cold air. So he frowned and took a step back, then zoomed in and said, I didn't expect that I would see something like this here. Do you still remember the 5-color altar I discovered at the beginning? The 5-color altar is composed of 5 different colors of stones, namely white, blue, green, red, and yellow. And next to the along, there must be a blue stone among the 5-color stones. The stone bed in front of you is completely blue. It is a bed made of pure 5-color blue stone. It is extremely rare. It can be said to be a rare treasure in the world. However, this 5-color blue stone bed is where the Chi dragon sleeps. It has been immersed in the cold air for thousands of years. Ordinary people can't even get close to it, let alone sleep on it. I'm afraid only the along appears and the 1,000-year-old eye silkworm, which is rare in the world, can go to the 5-color blue stone bed. Yeshi's eyes were full of emotion. After saying this, he stopped talking and turned to look at the barrage. Why does it feel like Yeshen really knows everything, but is such a big stone platform really a bed? The legendary dragon form is indeed true. Yeshen, you just said that except for Ilong and I silkworm, the rest can't even get close. Isn't there anything Yeshen can do about you? Seeing this barrage, Yeshi nodded sincerely. Yes, this 5-color blue stone bed has been soaked by the Ilong's frost energy, turning it into the darkest and coldest ice bed in the world. No one can get close except the Ilong and the eye silkworm. This was the first time netizens saw Yeshi being helpless, and they couldn't help but be surprised. I always thought that Yeshen was omnipotent, but I didn't expect that there were things that Yeshen couldn't do. It's just a film and television base, there's nothing you can't touch. It's so funny only brainless people like you believe in Yeshen. I also think that this is to create some kind of tourist attraction. It is probably like this, but it really tempted me. I have already bought the ticket and am going to follow the anchor's route. When Yeshi saw this, he frowned and immediately explained. Don't come here blindly. I didn't know it was so dangerous at first, so I broadcast the whole thing live. For those who say that I am purely performing and that I am an actor, all the comments here are false. I will refute the rumors for the last time. Everything I live broadcast is true. And it's particularly dangerous here. If anyone really becomes curious after watching my live broadcast, I hope they will take adequate protection. Of course, I don't recommend it. Because it's too dangerous here. If anything happens if you insist on coming, I can't guarantee it. After Yeshi said this, he glanced at the barrage a few more times. Most people said they would not come, but there were still a few people who were arrogant and sang the opposite tune. After looking at it for a few times, he stopped looking and just thought in his mind to extract the 1,000-year eye silkworm. As expected, the eye silkworm had fallen into the system space, as well as the eye silkworm clothing. A lot of things have been piled up in the system space. Yeshi has no time to check now. He plans to wait until he gets out of here to take a look. Yeshi continued to walk deeper into the ice cave, and the live broadcast machine followed faithfully behind him, recording what he saw and heard. Walking through the 5-color blue stone bed on the ice, Danmaku noticed that the 1,000-year-old eye silkworm on the ice bed seemed to be missing, and frantically reminded him. It's just that other netizens didn't care. They just felt that who could see clearly in the vast white area? It might be because of a misaligned eye, and looking at Yeshen's calm appearance, it must not be a big deal. As a result, netizens who discovered that the Millennium Eye silkworm was missing did not continue to yell. The ice cave was very big, and Yeshi never figured out that the underground area was so big. However, he could feel that as he went deeper, the cold air not only did not increase, but instead increased. The gradual decrease surprised him greatly. When I walked to the back, the ice under my feet turned into a thin layer that would break if stepped on. The stone walls on the left and right sides are no longer covered with frost, but only a little bit of ice and snow. The further we go, the more the temperature rises, giving us a feeling of spring warmth. Golden Mouse, this is indeed the place where a real dragon lives. It's so abnormal. Kicking the door frame, then I have to say, I don't know which company really spent a lot of money this time to create such a scene. Brother Menza didn't believe that what he saw was true. He always felt that Yeshi was deceiving the public with his lies, and because every time he complained about people, he was justified and pointed out all the unreasonable things in the live broadcast room, because it actually got the approval of many people, which was quite a spectacle. The netizen Alegio was puzzled after making a phone call with a big shot, and finally called a few friends to watch Yeshi's live broadcast room. At the same time, the relevant departments have noticed this place, but they also think that this is just a special effects or film and television base. Therefore, they are working overtime to check the background information of Yeshi, as well as the film and television wages behind it. Just when there was no more frost in Ilan Cave, Yeshi's footsteps suddenly stopped, and the netizens in the live broadcast room also looked eagerly awaiting it. At the time when everyone was looking forward to it, they only heard a ding sound. Ding, congratulations to the host for improving the progress of exploring the Bone Dragon Pond by 30%, and the overall progress is 80%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the fourth puzzle piece of the White Bone Dragon Pond, unlocking the White Bone Dragon Pond. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the White Bone Dragon Pond. Author, Xuanhuan Hai. Chapter 8. Ding, congratulations to the host for improving the progress of exploring the Bone Dragon Pond by 30%, and the overall progress is 80%. Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the fourth puzzle piece of the White Bone Dragon Pond and unlocking the map White Bone Dragon Pond. White Bone Dragon Pond, legend has it that a real dragon is buried in the long pond. A long time ago that cannot be traced back, a chi dragon fell into the mountains and fell into the pool. Everything here has turned into a legend. And today, the legend is about to unveil her mystery. The only reward, the petrified Ilang egg. Amidst the tinkling sound, Yeshi's pupils shrank sharply, and he saw an incredible picture in front of him. And this picture was also faithfully broadcast live in the live broadcast room. Deep in the mountains, under the silent earth, in a green pool no more than a few hundred square meters in size, a huge creature remained motionless, as if it had been there since eternity. The ancient desolation and long-lastingness revealed in it made people laugh. It will never be forgotten for a long time. And just a dozen meters away from Longton, a young man wearing a modern adventure suit stood there. Next to him was a live broadcast machine that kept buzzing. Modern technology and myths and legends, the ancient wilderness era and the real civilized society collide, making people feel an unparalleled impact. But there was a moment of silence, and the live broadcast room was like a flood. Thousands of barrages exploded in an instant, and the number of people in the live broadcast room increased at an incredible speed. Yeshi took a deep breath and barely stabilized his emotions before he spoke. His voice was very steady, but netizens could still hear the uneasy mood in it. The pool in front of me is the White Bone Dragon pool I was looking for. After going through all kinds of twists and turns, I finally saw the real dragon pool in ancient legends. Yeshi's words stopped. And a real dragon that is no different from the dragons in ancient myths and legends. The scenes in the live broadcast room were so shocking. Some netizens who had followed Yeshi's live broadcast from the beginning thought that everything that had happened before was shocking enough, but they did not expect that the most shocking thing was now. Netizens in the live broadcast room couldn't help but hold their breath. It wasn't until Yeshi started to speak that they breathed a sigh of relief. I couldn't believe what I saw, a dragon, a real dragon. Is this real? What did I see? I suspect that I just had a hallucination. Oh no, I am still hallucinating now. Well, I think you are overthinking it. There are as many as 8,000 similar live broadcasts on TikTok, but this time the special effects are more realistic, which doesn't mean anything. Kicking the doorframe, I checked the listed film and television companies around the world. Among them, there are only 4 companies capable of shooting such special effects blockbusters. They are, can you tell me which one you are from? Don't make me guess. Alegio, same as above. It's not a big problem, it's just a dragon, it's like no one has seen it before, I've even killed a dragon, what's wrong? Same upstairs, I have killed people before, but never in such a real way. By the way, if the host is interested in making a game after filming, based on your current experience, I will definitely buy it. Golden Mouse, thank you God yeah for taking us to see the real dragon, he is really beautiful. I just took a screenshot like crazy and changed the wallpaper on my computer. Baitan was so small, and the dragon corpse was so big. The contrast between the two made some people suspicious. Compared with before, this time the voices of doubt were overwhelming, and the people who supported him became the outliers. But yes, she can completely understand. Just because his live broadcast room is becoming more and more popular, it has also attracted the attention of some Hindu executives. Originally, they just thought that a small anchor was doing some gimmick live broadcasts. There were live broadcasts in the underworld before, and there were a lot of people who said that they were Lord Ma and the Jade Emperor, but no one came out to suspect it. There is not really an underworld, or a heaven. But this time, the special effects of this live broadcast are too much. What's wrong with having such a shooting base, and they are still doing live broadcasts? So Yindu official sent a private message to Yeshi's live broadcast account, issuing a serious warning. Yeshi didn't look at the background, but he could imagine that his private messages from the background had exploded. Moreover, large amounts of rewards came one after another. Yeshi even specifically asked netizens not to reward him, but it was of no use. In addition, the number of fans on his Yindu account increased by 6 million in one day, and he suddenly changed from an unknown anchor to a popular anchor. This popular trend has also spread from Yindu to other on the platform. Big Eyes has become a hot search topic at this time, and it is getting heated. Whether it is real or fake, just watch it for fun. There are so many people live streaming the underworld and heaven on TikTok, why don't you try to be more serious? Besides, this anchor has real talent and knowledge, one of the Kung Fu 6 batch. Where is the anchor? Why don't you speak? There was a lot of noise in the live broadcast room. Yeshi was just stunned for a while because the only reward had arrived. He couldn't hold back his curiosity and took a look. As a result, he took a look and was a little disappointed, because this Ilong egg was it was exactly as the system described it, except that it was a stone egg about 2 meters high. Although he was a little disappointed, Yeshi didn't care. After all, he got it for nothing. However, when he looked up and saw the barrage of arguments, Yeshi spoke. Well, I know everyone wants to take a close look at this Ilong, but I'm not going to get too close. As you all know, not all dragons in myths and legends are gentle. Although it looks like the Ilong has fallen into a deep sleep and may even be dead, it's still too dangerous to really go forward, so I'm only going to take a circle around the pool. Since the Ilong cave, it seems like I've come to another world. There are many more scenery lovers in the barrage, who sigh that this place is very beautiful and even want to come here for tourism. Yeshi persuaded once, and then stopped talking. Going deeper, the frost gradually disappeared, and the temperature gradually rose. Just like in the warm spring, there were even flowers and plants on the ground, but they were not lush, but there was a faint glow. And now, next to the Baitan, the scenery here is even more beautiful than the mortal world, not to mention that there is a white dragon sleeping in the clear Baitan, adding a fantasy to the already beautiful scenery, making it even more fascinating. Yeshi walked forward carefully, holding his breath. After a few steps, he was only half a meter away from the dragon pond and the white dragon in it. At this time, even the white dragon's whiskers could be seen very clearly, which caused a burst of exclamations from the barrage. But until now, not many people think that the picture Yeshi broadcast live is real. It's so beautiful. How great it would be if such a beautiful creature really existed in the world. I didn't expect such a magnificent scenery. It's okay if I didn't see it in a movie theater, but in an ordinary live broadcast room. Yeshen, I am a professional anchor. At this time, the camera in the live broadcast room suddenly zoomed in, scaring everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. In order to let netizens see more clearly, Yeshi deliberately zoomed in the camera in the live broadcast room. The along in the green lake was even closer because of his action, just like it was right in front of them. The lifelike white scales were in front of everyone, full of the feeling of ancient wilderness, making them dare not breathe. Moreover, the clear green water of the lake gave people a feeling of suffocation. It was obviously separated by 108,000 miles, but the water seemed to be right in front of them, making some netizens who were afraid of water scream. Yeshi zoomed in the camera, looked back and saw the barrage, and then realized that it would bring such an effect, so he quickly adjusted the camera to its original appearance. Yeshi did not approach the dragon pool, but just stood half a meter away, watching this miracle of ingenuity in the world. The dragon body of the Along was right in front of him, but it was a pity that he could not touch it. It would be a lie to say that there was no regret, but life was more important. Although the air of frost and snow did not penetrate, and even the water in the pond was so clear, Yeshi could feel that there was a great danger ahead, in this dragon pond. I am afraid that the water in this dragon pond is not ordinary water. And the Along in front of him, which seemed to be molded by the creator of heaven and earth, made Yeshi secretly raise his heart. Standing here for 20 minutes, all the netizens who watched the live broadcast really watched the white bone dragon pond for 20 minutes. Originally, Yeshi thought that many people would leave during this period, but he did not expect that the number of people in the live broadcast room would increase, which surprised him. And the barrage in the live broadcast room purified the soul of the water, which made Yeshi a little confused. However, he did feel that when he stood here, his originally impetuous mood calmed down, but he did not expect that he could also affect it remotely. It is so beautiful. It is true that I regret not having enough books when I need them. Now I can only say / Exploring the world, starting from the discovery of the white bone dragon pond. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 10. During the live broadcast, all the rewards issued by the system were placed in the system space by Yeshi. It was not until this moment that he had time to take a good look at what was piled up inside. However, during the inspection, Yeshi suddenly thought of a question. Where is the 100% reward for the last exploration of the white bone dragon pond? Could it be embezzled? When Yeshi came out of the cave and looked up to see the sky hanging in the sky, his progress in exploring the white bone dragon pond was perfect. Moreover, the originally lit map of the white bone dragon pond was like a miniature version of the secret realm, and everything in it could be enlarged. All the areas that Yeshi had been to were clearly displayed in front of Yeshi. Just when Yeshi was confused, the system seemed to be reminded by him and came late. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully completing the exploration of the white bone dragon pond secret realm. All rewards have been issued. Please sort them out yourself. Yeshi. At this time, ding-ling-ling, the mobile phone that Yeshi threw in the car suddenly rang. He just remembered, so he picked up his phone and saw that there were hundreds of missed calls, and his phone was almost blown up. But there was no call from his parents. I forgot to mention that he was an orphan. He is still a sophomore student, and he just took a vacation for a while. At this time, because his live broadcast room became popular, not only did people from Yindu call him desperately, but even people from the school and relatives who were not related to him called him. However, Yeshi took a look and threw his phone aside casually. He didn't have the spare time to deal with these people now. 54 primary energy bottles, plus what I saved before. I thought this thing was very precious, but I didn't expect the system to be wholesale. Yeshi sighed and didn't look at it again. 21 bottles of special nutrient solution, 30 bottles of intermediate energy bottles. Yeshi didn't expect that there were so many intermediate energy bottles piled up here. Then he couldn't help but sigh that the adventure reward was indeed the highest. Usually, he did 2 months of tasks and got 3 or 4 bottles of special nutrient solution. He opened a bottle of intermediate energy bottle and drank it. His already abundant energy and physical strength were about to overflow. The system was right. Even with internal strength, the intermediate energy bottle could help him recover to his full state anytime and anywhere. Suddenly, Yeshi's eyes lit up. In this case, if I pour the mysterious energy liquid in these energy bottles onto the petrified Elang eggs, can I hatch them again? Thinking of this, his heart suddenly moved, but there was no rush for this matter. He had to wait until he got home. In addition to the energy chapter, the system's rewards were upgraded nutrient solution. There were dozens of bottles of planetary gene nutrient solution piled up in the system space. Yeshi opened a bottle and drank it. Sure enough, he felt that something inside his body had untied the shackles, even like a broken chain. And the already surging internal strength was like waves hitting the reefs, stirring up violent storms. Technology and cultivation, it is indeed invincible. Yeshi sighed for a while and began to check other treasures. The most important treasure is the 1,000-year-old eye silkworm. Yeshi just looked at it and felt a chill coming towards himself. If the system had not separated the 3 feet around the 1,000-year-old eye silkworm from other places, I am afraid that other things would have become ruins. In addition to the eye silkworm, there are also eye silkworm clothes and dust-avoiding beads. Yeshi touched the pair of Xuanhuan on his neck, and then looked at the dust-avoiding beads, sighing that this white-bone dragon pond is worthy of being the place where the real dragon lives, and there are so many beads. Of course, in addition to this, the most attractive thing is the 2-meter-high stone egg. Which is the Elang egg. When Yeshi thought of the appearance of the Elang he saw in the dragon pond, he looked at the dragon egg again and felt a kind of expectation. However, the system space and time are stagnant. Everything is the same as it is when it is put in, and it is still the same when it is taken out. Yeshi did not insist on taking out this 2-meter dragon pill and putting it in his car. After finishing all this, Yeshi switched the car to the automatic driving mode and took out his mobile phone. He first replied to a few messages from some good classmates, and then perfunctorily sent a few messages to the school teachers, and then he turned off the app. Then he opened the background of Yindu. Before opening it, he didn't know how popular he was, but when he opened it, Yeshi looked at the private messages and rewards that were about to explode in the background and couldn't help but be surprised. I didn't expect that after this live broadcast, I could buy a villa in the capital. This is really enthusiastic. Yeshi is not short of money. He just received a large amount of compensation because his parents died unexpectedly, and the house in his hometown was demolished later. With that amount of money, as long as he doesn't spend it on gambling for a lifetime, he can have a worry-free life. However, this time when he came to explore the white-bone dragon pond, he spent hundreds of thousands of yuan on his equipment alone, which were all the top equipment on the market. Originally thought that he would go bankrupt if he continued like this, but he didn't expect that just a live broadcast would turn a loss into a profit. Yeshi smiled, then withdrew all the balance on Yindu to his bank card. Just because of some things that happened to him now, it was no longer convenient for him to live in a residential area without good privacy, so he was planning to buy a villa in the middle of the mountain. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully completing the side mission. The reward is Whale Breath Skill, Mid-Level Villa, Planetary Gene Nutrient Solution X5, and Intermediate Energy Bottle X10. Whale Breath Technique, a legendary figure uses the legendary book Zifu Yuan Zong as the basis to imitate the internal power created by the breathing of a giant whale. The internal energy of those who have mastered this skill can become vast and change at will. When used to the extreme, riding on the bright light, the mind gathers and disperses freely, scattering like flying dragons, gathering like dead trees, relying on the wind and rain in the tomb. Unconsciously, the mountains and rivers are ventilated, and water is drawn from the sand. Yes, she just thought about buying a villa in the middle of the mountain, but he didn't expect the system to be so considerate and proactive in preparing it for him, not to mention, it would also reward another martial arts master who sounded extraordinary. He raised his eyebrows and said, "I didn't expect that the side mission rewards for exploring the map would be so generous. It seems that I have to complete all the side missions in the future. But this whale breath skill," yes, she extracted it directly, closed his eyes, and felt another completely different internal skill appearing in his body. Originally thought that the 9-yang divine art and the whale breath technique would conflict, but yes, she was surprised to find that the 9-yang divine art, which was originally thought to be the most powerful and powerful yang, turned out to be a combination of yin and yang, and the two internal forces merged together. The internal force in Yeshi's body actually has the functions of yin and yang at the same time, but the internal force of the whale's breath skill is more like water, but it is precisely because of this that there is no discomfort in the fusion. He felt his body shake. The internal force in his body was more flexible than the yang, giving the already endless internal force a little more toughness. The dense purple air in the danshan, which is originally like nectar, lingering in the haze, and swimming freely, has a hint of water. Originally, Yeshi was not very sure about swallowing the 1000-year eye silkworm, but now, he was much more sure.